Was thinking the other day of our past episodes, and we just recorded an episode on people pleasing, signs of people pleasing. And one of the things that kept coming up in that conversation that we had, and if you haven't watched that episode, you need to go back and watch it, is how do you value yourself? Because we talked about in that conversation the people pleasing on wanting to be liked, or how we, you know, our feeling of our self-worth and all of that. And I was a chronic people pleaser. And it wasn't until I worked really hard, and I think I saw this in my corporate world where, you know, you talk about the company values and the company mission and all of that. And one day I asked myself, self, what do you value? What's your value? What do you want inside of the type of person you want to be? Not what I want people to think
Mm.
of me, but what is the type of person I wish to be?
I think that's huge right there. I think that's huge right
Right,
there. The difference, who I want to be as opposed to who I want people to think I am.
right. And so I had thought, like, when I go to do something, is that the value? Is that the person I want to be? Is that who I am? And that was a game changer for me. So I call them values. And, you know, there's all these value words, and I'm not getting into that aspect, but do you guys have your own set of internal values of the person you want to be every morning that you put your feet on the ground and start your day? Do you have values?
Yes. I might even have my list close by.
Oh, that's awesome. Like that's awesome because of all the noise out in this world, and there's a lot of noise out there. Having a list to remind you, it's not a bad thing. I love that, Tracy G.
I love that too. Would you be willing to share?
Some of the things I live by example. Um, I think some of these are kind of personal. So,
No
yeah,
worries.
but they're there.
That's awesome.
I love it. I do. I love that, and I love the fact too, in that you're comfortable enough to say a little of them are personal, and they should be personal.
I'll do this one
They
though.
should be. Yeah.
My conscience, my mind, body, spirit, ego, superego, all the labels we have for the consciousness work and unify together in harmony to create the best experience in that moment. So that's a value that I want to live by is I'm living in the moment.
That's to me, that's one of mine, meaning living in the moment, being present in the moment, and not as eloquently said as yours, but it was something as simple as a couple weeks ago. Pete's son was here, his wife and two children, and when they left, I had no pictures of them. Like I didn't take one picture when they were here because I was out there being
Experiencing.
with them. I was like, yeah, I was being crazy. We were playing tag, we were running, counting, jumping off the docks, and we were doing whatever. We were living in the moment. That was my value. My value wasn't, let me take pictures and post that. And I have no qualms with anybody that does that. But that's, to me, that's my value. That's what I want. And I think if we took time to spend time internally with ourselves to understand what our values are, what's important to us. And if you can't answer that question, that is a-okay. You don't, that means you just need to work on it and spend time thinking about it. Because of we're told all the time what we should be doing, what our values are, who we should be voting for, what products we should be buying, what our house should look like, what food we should be eating. Like, really, if you think about it, yeah, we get lost on what we really want, I think.
I just want to point out too that that's very much a work of like it started with, I want to be trustworthy. I want to
Mhm,
be, truthful. Like those were my
mhm.
values. And from there, they've extended over time to a little bit more elaborate for me. But I started just, to me, was the base. What do I always want to be throughout my day? And I want to be trustworthy. I want you to be able to feel that you can trust me. Like that was one of my big ones to start. Then I got really into me.
Right. But,
Totally fine.
that's what it is. Tracy E., what do you think? I already know what you think, but
Don't make me cough. I would suggest that for anybody who thinks, well, I don't know what my values are, Stephen Covey has an incredible exercise that asks you to write your own eulogy.
Mm.
So if you have passed on, what is it that you would want to say about yourself? And that will tell you who it is that you're striving to be, who it is, what your values actually are, what is important to you. And the exercise is meant more from the standpoint of not who you want to become from a
mhm,
business aspect. Like, I want to be a CEO, I want to be a leader of, whatever. It's not meant to be that type of an exercise, although that can be said, right, about yourself. But it really does allow you to hone in, like you said, on things like, I want to be known as trustworthy. I want
right,
people to say, oh, she was so kind. She was a kind individual. Because when you know that, you can anchor into that, and then you can start living your life with those qualities and going forth in your days with those things in mind. You literally can create your own list like you have and just say, this is how I want my day to be. This is, I want to demonstrate these qualities in some way during the course of my day.
We have a friend and we call her the helper. She cannot not help you. She just uh in any situation, she's the first one there to offer support of some kind, whatever that is. So a costume, give homeless people food, whatever it is, it is just so ingrained in her. And it's just interesting that we're talking about this because you see these certain things about your friends or family and certain words come to you right away about them.
And
yeah,
that's what they live by. And it's
yeah,
interesting because when you aren't living by those qualities, you are out of alignment. You're off. You don't understand like what's happening. I'm not me. I don't feel like me. Right. And a lot of times you can like simply go back and just go, yeah, like I'm not doing these things that, anchor me into who it is that I am. And when you do that, your integrity goes through the roof when when
right,
you're living by your values.
right. Yeah, I think that was a huge game changer for me. Huge game changer. And just like you said, Tracy G., it started with words, just simple words, you know? And I've never written my eulogy. I have not done that exercise. I'll be honest with you. It kind of freaks me out, and it should freak everybody out, maybe. But I think that's a really good thing. But it's funny. I enjoy reading other people's eulogies because I find like I've never seen, like, I've seen what they've done for a living, but I've never seen, well, he spent all of his time or her time away from her family, their family, and becoming the president of the bank. I've always said, seen more of, you know, gave back to society, was somebody who took care of, like, it was more other emotional things than it had to do with the amount of money aspect of things or career choice or items such as that. So, but it has helped me. It helps me still to this day. There are times where um I get caught up in societal whatever, and I'm like, nope, that's is that who you want to be? Nope. Okay, that's not your value. Move on. And I just get anchored back into it, like
Yeah.
anchor back into it and move forward.
And I think that word anchor is beautiful because it really does. It just, if you're kind of floating over here, it brings you back down to who you are. And so then, and we've talked about decision making in past episodes, we've talked about the people pleaser, and I think it all goes back down to your values. Your decisions come quicker because you know you're right and wrong. Your people pleasing isn't as much because you know your value. It's all good stuff.
All
Yeah,
good stuff.
it is. It is. So, I haven't revisited it often. I think, I know Tracy G, you're really good at that. You write your letters. We've talked about this in
Oh,
past episodes, about the whole New Year's resolution things, and you do your letters and you read your letters and looking at this, I really admire that, that quality that you have. And it has probably inspired me that probably this weekend I'm going to spend some time anchoring in to, not solidify them, but just to review to see if there are areas that need adjusting or adding,
right.
because
Because we're
I
always
think that's
changing.
something, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
change all the time. We change all the time. So I appreciate that you share that. I like that.
I think while our values, I think are concrete, the priority of them change,
Yeah.
based on where you are in the season of your life and what's going on and what it is that you're doing, right? Because
Yes.
obviously your daily activities are going to um have to reflect different things, right? So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yes. Totally agree with that. I like that. I think we're going to have to revisit this topic because I'm going to go spend some time on it. I think it's a good topic to bring
Hmm.
up
Hmm.
again
Hmm.
because I think it is a driver of how you live your life so importantly. And again, um, I've brought this up a lot of times in this episode, and I'm sorry, but it just keeps driving me back. There's so many things going on in this world that when we fine tune, hone in, critique our values, it allows us to move through this world in the path that we wish and not get so caught up in all the noise.
Hmm.
So, on that note, do you, viewer, have your values written down? Do you know your values? Do you have questions about how to go through this process? I know we've done them in the past. We did it for our program here, but maybe you need some help with personal aspects of how to do this, how to even figure out what's important to you, because that can be hard if you're like Tracy G said, over here all the time. It helps bring you, anchors you down in. Let us know. Let's put it in the comments and we'll see if we can guide you in some way. If you feel that this episode can help someone else, please share it. Please hit that subscribe button if you like what you're hearing and hit notifications so you know when our next episode will be out. Until next time.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.